by Clutch was talking
Oh,
about three.
it's one
It'd
of
be
those guys who
targets for him. All right, and they saying Pelicans need, and this is just our idea to throw to you at you, Lex, and the family members. They thinking this is their idea. Pelicans need Isaiah Hartstein if the price is right. I'm not really big on Isaiah Hartstein. I'm really not. I know he's a hustle player. He got some stuff to him, but I'm not really big on him. But the guy says Valanciunas' pending departure. Pelicans are going to need a starting center. Even
that's a horrible
yeah,
quick.
and perhaps the best free agent
They,
center
no,
available.
not because he's a bad player. They talking about him making $80 to $100 million.
Forget that.
Man. I'm quit cutting you off.
No, not for no Isaiah Hartstein. Now the Pelicans already have quite a bit of cap space tied up with three players in Zion, Bi, and McCollum, barring an unforeseen trade that doesn't give them much room to work with. Hartstein is likely to command a hefty price. Now, following Mitchell Robinson's injury issues throughout the season into the playoffs, Hartstein filled in admirably as a starter. He's athletic, worked on his 3-point shooting, 33.3 from downtown, can be a double threat as well. The one issue that would hamper the Pelicans' efforts, though, is the price. So Isaiah is likely in line for a big payday of his career so far. The Pelicans should still do their due diligence and inquire about him, but it might not be realistic. Second one, and this is a player that I've actually heard us talk about here on the PPR. Tyus Jones is the playmaker and ball handler the Pelicans need. One of the most glaring weaknesses last season was their lack of true point guard. McCollum has always been more point guard. The Pelicans' offense was hampered by not having a true point guard. He said that ad nauseum here that they were operating the point guard by committee approach that in the clutch moments of the game seems to break down. You need a table setter, somebody that brings some balance there. Tyus Jones has long been one of the most underrated and underappreciated point guards in the NBA in terms of free agency money. He likely wouldn't command much. The Pelicans definitely need to put fillers out for his services. Jones had a career year this past season, averaging 12 points and 7.3 assists. He shot almost 49% from the field and over 41% from downtown. Not bad. Pelicans do have player option backup point guard Jose Alvarado. While Alvarado's a high-energy player and tough defender, the need for a true playmaker at the one is too glaring for the Pelicans not to address this offseason. It might be time to move in another direction. Then, of course, the third thing, Pelicans need to re-sign do-it-all Najee Marshall. Of the Pelicans' key free agents, the top player they need to bring back is Najee Marshall. Marshall has become a knife type play. I would love for it to happen, bro, but it's not going to happen. For the Pelicans, he knows his role and plays it well, does a little bit of everything on the court. One of the top things he's worked on is his floor space. And Marshall shot a career almost 39% from 3-point range last season, which that's a plus for Najee, man. We were so taken back by what Herb was doing in his maturation. Najee Marshall had a very good maturation of himself. He's going to get paid somewhere, just not us. He's also a strong defending player who can guard multiple positions, and perhaps most importantly, he's the Pelicans' enforcer. The only issue, though, could be salary. Undrafted in 2020 NBA draft, this could be Marshall's first chance as a long-term lucrative contract that will probably be no shortage of suitors looking to add him to their roster. Suitors could conceivably offer him more than the Pelicans. In the end, Marshall could be willing to take a hometown discount on the team that gave him a chance in the NBA, or does he rightfully cash in on the bigger payday? I would say to the latter, that he would cash in. He's going to cash in. And it won't be with the Pels. We can't afford it.
I mean, why wouldn't he cash in? Why are they talking like he gonna give us a hometown discount? I never understood this talk with Najee. Like Najee's gonna give us a hometown discount. Man, we went in the first round of playoffs and got mopped up. Man, nobody ain't trying to come back to that team and take a discount, man. Like you gotta be on the verge of really winning something to do that. Like that's crazy. Najee gonna get that bag. I think somebody, like I said, will give him anything in the range of $7 to $10 million a year, maybe. You know, they gonna whatever they give him, they're gonna give him more than we willing to get. So what is he coming back for? But awesome player. The knife, his versatility was amazing, man. Definitely will forever remember Najee as Pelican, man.
Yeah, indeed, and that's the thing that We think about, when we look at how, because fam, moving forward, man, I just the Pelicans, you're gonna lose one of your key reserves. Like we BI is gonna be traded. Eventually CJ McCollum's gonna get traded, even though it won't be early on, more than likely it's gonna be later on, because they gotta reset the core. So we gotta be able to put a team in place here that's gonna compete right out the gate. We talking about Dallas. Dallas popped in there, man, in the Western Conference, not Western, the in the NBA Finals. They're in the NBA Finals representing the West. That's out of our stuff. That's out of our division.
Crazy.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't even see that. I had either Denver or Minnesota coming. Whoever coming out of that fight, that should have been the Western Finals, by the way. That should have been.
I didn't see him. I didn't see him just outright making this a championship queue. But I remember talking trash about Dallas during the season, right?
Yes.
I talked about them. Oh, they're not gonna do nothing, man. It's a lot of offense and no defense. Man, I got quiet as a church mouse after the trade deadline queue. I already knew something was brewing. When I saw what Derek Lively was already doing, they went and got Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington, all for getting off of Grant Williams and some draft picks. I'm like, man, what the hell are we doing? We talked about it and how upset we were. That's all it took to get Gafford?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that would have been a perfect complement to what we needed. You want to go all defense. You want to go switch everything. How the hell we do that and we don't have a goddamn rim protector?
No imagination.
At least cheap, some type of rim protector where you could work them in. We don't have that at all. So once I saw Dallas do that and add the caveat of PJ Williams to what they already had a solid team.
Right.
I knew something. I knew something was cooking, but I didn't think for sure they were going to the West, the finals. I thought maybe the Western Conference finals, but they didn't win, man. And they gelled as a team. Luke was talking about how great Kyrie Irving's leadership is. A guy we could have traded for. I know, right, kid? And he was cheap too, bro. It was like two first round draft picks.
I know, but DC, this is the thing.
It would have took nuts to do that, bro.
We gave up.
We don't have no nuts. I watched the interview from Bryson Graham too, Q, and
okay, that's fine.
I don't think he's gonna be quiet like you said. I think he's gonna talk a lot, with his hand in a funny posture too. If you know what I'm saying.
No, I don't know what you're saying.
Zestiness, Q. I saw a lot of zestiness.
Oh. Don't talk like that about
I'm like, man, what is going on, man? Look, I'm gonna call it like I see it, bro. I'm behind him for whatever he can do basketball wise, man. But I wasn't prepared for that, bro. I think that's what I was about to see when I watched the interview. But anyway,
hey, bro, don't talk like
we need nuts though, man. We need somebody around. Gotta have some nuts, man. Maybe I'm totally wrong about the brother, and if I am, I apologize. But I know what I saw.
Say, bro, listen, bro. That man might be popping up on this show soon, bro. We don't need no stuff that a zestiness going on. That we don't need all that, brother.
Hey, Q. I'm just saying. Bro, did you watch the interview?
No, I did not see the interview.
See, that's why, because you didn't watch it. Matter of fact, we got to play the interview before the show.
Okay, well, listen, man. All I want is a team that talks about winning and about being an NBA champion. I don't care about no good human beings and stability and what's the word? The UN term he always uses.
The culture.
Good human beings.
No, it's the what's it is? The
human beings, man.
No, it's something else he uses. The
culture.
No, it's
building an organic, sustainable culture.
Sustainable. There you go.
Yeah, sustainable culture. A family type environment.
Yeah. So, what are you trying to build? A theme park or a pro basketball team, man?
I thought all you had to do was win to build a family type environment. Last time
because, bro,
that's it.
Man, listen, we have the talent comes through here, like the whole Willie Green thing. Like, why we not going after coaches that call? We wouldn't have went for Coach Bud. That Phoenix had fired Frank Vogel, who did a better job than Willie did. fired Frank Vogel, who has a championship ring, and then brings in a better coach and Coach Budenheimer. It's interesting. We could not afford to pay Coach Bud that kind of money, because the Pelicans got Willie because of the fact that they still owe two previous head coaches money. They owed Gentry, they owed Stan Van Gundy money, so they needed somebody that was going to work cheap, which is fine.
Yeah.
At that time, we had Jamal Mosley, who came through and got an interview, and Mosley look where he's doing with Orlando. Credit to Jamal Mosley. And there was got fine. He got fired, but this is why we couldn't do it because we making a lot of stupid decisions.
Yeah. A lot
Right.
of mistakes and
A lot
covering
of
those
mistakes.
mistakes.
Right. And then we got to
Yeah.
trade capital to clean up mistakes of bad contracts or,
And,
stuff like
hey,
this.
that's something that Sam Presti, he didn't do that stuff. That's the difference between what the Thunder did and the T-Wolves. They didn't make mistakes. Like everything, for the most part, they basically hit. And that's really probably the biggest thing that's killing the Pels. It's too many mistakes. And then then you find yourself you're covering up those mistakes or trying to retract or you know what I'm saying? Those mistakes you made. And in doing that, it puts you in a financial bind, which
Yeah.
makes you putting you making cheap decisions. And
Right.
it's like that's hurting the team. That's hurting the team. But that's been the biggest difference. I know, like, because I think a reporter asked, why is it that the Thunder, they're where they are. You know what I'm saying? And you are, and he basically Griff was saying, oh well, they they were have a different situation than what we had. They had time to build. I'm like, dog, you had that same amount of time. You had that
Well,
same amount of
they didn't
time.
have they didn't
Like
have
that
they didn't
that
have
that don't make
pressure though,
no
Lex.
sense. Like
They didn't
you
have
made
pressure. You got to
poor
remember the pressure
decisions.
part.
You know
Hold on,
what I'm saying?
DC. She could.
What are you saying?
Or let her
No,
cook.
I was just gonna tell that you got to remember the pressure part. They didn't have no pressure.
Go ahead, Lex. She could.
Yeah, that too. But I mean, the thing is that you didn't have the same situation that the Thunder had was the same. Probably the injuries what was the biggest thing. But then what you do is instead of playing behind, like because everything you said this before, everything that the Pelicans have done has been delayed. They're like a season, 2 seasons behind. Like you have to get aggressive. Like you're not aggressive enough. That's one thing that I can respect about the Lakers. They're aggressive on trying to get better. Now, yeah, they do make mistakes, but they are a powerhouse. They have all the money in the world to do that. But my thing is that even smaller teams, they're aggressive. They've been aggressive on making changes. Memphis has been one of them. They just had a year where they were just down. They had a down year. But for the most part, they've been competitive. They've gotten to the playoffs. Same thing with the T-Wolves. They've had to make a lot of changes. They didn't have to deal with injuries, but it's like they've been aggressive on making changes. It's like the Pelicans, like everything stops. Like after, like for instance, they wanted to collect the data on how this core would do and how the team would do this year instead of making changes, being proactive instead of reactive. And I get all that, but it's like, dude, I think it's fair to say that we saw enough of this team, enough of this core. Even with the amount of games that Brandon played and Zion played. I think it was clear like we know what this looks like, especially with Willie Green. Because we understood his philosophy. That dude didn't change anything. He got more wins because guys, the stars were more available. But that's the only reason. That's the only it's not because like obviously coach your butt off or anything. But I mean, just this reactive thing and being delayed and not doing it, not being aggressive, that's killing us. And the fact that Griff's made poor decisions, that again, we've heard people say like this organization has a impoverished mentality. And look what he's doing. He's going the cheap route, which is a huge concern because if everything is coming down specifically and the determining factor is, okay, we want to go with a cheaper trade, that's a problem. Because the thing is, we're not focused on the winning part. It's on, okay, how can we save money? And they've been having that mentality. That's a horrible mentality. That's killing the organization. Like, you have to take chances and take bigger risks, because this team has not been doing that. They've been going the cheap route. And if you go the cheap route, you get cheap results.
Hey, I agree, Lex, and you saying that, and man, just been contemplating. It's for me, the Brandon Ingram trade is Darius Garland, Trey Young, or another point guard type playmaker that can come up out of the blue that's getting traded. Maybe Big Cat. Not sure how I really feel about that. If they're asking for him to be traded, but I wouldn't be mad if we got him. It's like those guys are nothing. DeJounte Murray, if we got him, I would be okay with it. Wouldn't be excited at all. Looking at it now, I was one of the first people to talk about us trading for DeJounte Murray before it was smoke about us even trading for DeJounte Murray. Remember that, Q?
Yes.
And that, for me, was having him with the idea of having Brandon Ingram as well, for me, replacing DeJounte Murray with CJ McCollum. Him and BI are partners. I thought they probably could figure out a way to play together. He can get BI some of those three-point shots and fix that problem everybody has with BI not shooting threes. As we forget, when Lonzo Ball was here, dude was shooting like 6 threes a game. But nobody ever mentions that. He's going to go to another team, and what's BI going to do with point guard? He's going to shoot threes. But nonetheless, probably going to be out of here. I look at it now, man, and it's like, I don't think it would do anything. We'd be a little better, but that ain't the best way to maximize Zion, in my opinion. And when we sat up here and we talked about Trey Young, that would maximize Zion. Darius Garland, that would maximize Zion. Insert question mark point guard that shoots great from the three and has extreme playmaking ability, that will highlight Zion. Even Big Cat, you put him at center, you get your stretch five. They cannot load up in the paint. That will maximize Zion. Still have to find a point guard. And he's making probably more damn money than Zion. So I don't know how realistic that is. To have all that money in the front court. But to go and we try to patch something else here and patch something else there, man, I'm sick of seeing it. We've done that the whole David Griffin organization, with the exception of swinging for the biggest trade, which was CJ McCullough, which I think we have a very negative image of Mr. McCullough. You call him politician, some people call him terrorist. You know, you got the whole 9 yards with that. But I think him in the right situation with a point guard, as I've said many times, it would have looked different, you know. But if you bring in a Trey Young, like, I think you got to get rid of him at some point. I don't think they could play together for long stretches, although offensively it'd be dynamic. But the Pels cannot continue to make these thrift store ass moves, man. Like, we keep worrying about money, but we want to be a organic, sustainable, winning organization. They gotta look in the mirror, man, and look around. We're in the West. Dallas is going to the finals, and guess how many games Dallas won, Big Q and Lex? Dallas won the same amount of games. Yeah, we won this shit.
Yeah, you know what, DC? That's all.
But I got one other point to attach to that. But you know, our main guy got hurt, right? In the playoffs. Yeah. So everybody's like, oh, okay, well, if Zion got hurt, we could have did what Dallas did. No, we couldn't have. And this for the same reason that Zion got hurt. We don't have anybody else that can maximize him and get him easy buckets. Like, man, we've been saying this since Lonzo Ball left and Drew Holiday left.
Anybody else, you don't have.
He got to work hard to get everything.
Yeah, and that's a problem. Every shot and every.
It don't even have to always be gravity. Let's just drawing up plays, the right plays.
No,
putting them in the position to succeed and get somebody that get them the ball there, even if they don't have the gravity. It's a lot of different ways to do it.
Yeah, well,
That's the
then
best
that
way.
comes down to coaching too. We got a problem there. You know what I'm saying? It's like if it ain't point
Oh
A,
shit.
it's point B, and point B is a problem for point C. You know what I'm saying? Not for real. But look,
You're
I mean,
right.
look, there's a problem. Look, you notice when you look at other teams play, it seems like the flow and the shots that other teams get is just so much easier. The game is so much easier. The way that they play is so much easier. Man, it's a struggle. And we said this many a times. It's a struggle watching the Pelicans play. It's a struggle like, dog, why can't y'all make the right play? Why aren't y'all passing the ball? Why can't you all
Because
pass the ball in the post? That kills me. Why can't we throw lobs? You know what I'm saying? Like, just get easy buckets. And I understand, look, we don't want to always be dunking all the time, but you know what? Look at the Mavs. Man, they doing that stuff all day, every day. And it's working for them. Like, why do
It's
we not
amazing what a
want
point guard does, huh?
but why do we not want a high percentage shot? The best shot on the court is a layup. And I think
Yeah.
it's funny because a lot of people complain about that, but it's like that's the highest percentage shot on the court. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
then a lot of times the shots that we're taking either mid range or behind the arc, they're being contested. They're being contested. So it's like that just doesn't even make any sense. We should not be playing this game hard. It should be a whole lot easier than what it is.
but Willie Green wants 40 shots a night. He prefers 40 shots a night.
43s. 43s.
43 pointers a night, right? And the crazy part about it is most of those, nobody's underneath the basket to get the rebound for the stick back. I'm like, listen, if you want to take 40 3-point attempts per game, at least have a legitimate guy underneath.
JV was under the basket.
He wasn't under the basket enough. Hey, DC, come on, man, because them guys.
He was under the basket for about 22 minutes.
It's like me and my pops got a nickname from CJ McCollum. We call him CJ McClick'em because he comes down, nothing set, and there's nobody set. Like guys are running to get in position, and CJ just throw the damn thing up. He'll miss it. The other team gets the rebound. Then they're in transition. They have to switch, automatically stop, and then run the other way. So I'm like, there was a lot of times we didn't see a lot of the continuity that we wanted to see with that offense that the Pelicans was running. So yeah, everybody.
I think Brandon Ingram was watching what you and Pops was watching.
Yes.
That's why he said at the end of the season, things work a lot better when we had an actual point guard.
Yes. Right. Because that's the thing, man. And this has been happening for the Pelicans for a while. But and I have to ask this question because people are asking me this question. Let me throw this out to you guys. Y'all answer to the chat too. We know that with Dyson Daniels, he was a first-round draft pick point guard. We have a couple of those family over the last recent years or so.
Dyson Daniels is damn small forward.
Well, listen. We had a couple of point guards the Pelicans took in the draft, DC. We had Kyra Lewis Jr. We had Dyson Daniels, who was taken in the mold of the Lonzo Ball thing, because remember, Lonzo was this guy. They like the big guy that can guard multiple positions for him, the 1-2, and then you could put him at 3 if you needed him. He was defensive inclined. They would work on his offensive game, but they had shades of Lonzo Ball. Not that the kid is Lonzo Ball, but you could see where they were drawing from with Dyson Daniels, because his defense was there. Dyson's defense was there. He had a good ability to assist as well, and his offensive game was behind. How much of this potential point guard situation could be Dyson, or is he merely a trade component? How serious is Dyson's future with the Pelicans? Let me ask you that, and to the chat. Y'all answer in the chat. I'm going to highlight your comments.
I think it's basically dependent on which direction we go of reshaping this roster right now. Dyson, to actually be a point guard, he needs to get something that I'm not sure we can give him right now. He needs to get playing time. He needs to get the PT to be able to figure that out. as well as being coached up to do that. I see a lot of natural instincts he has as a point guard. Dyson is never going to be a really flashy point guard, though. But I think he has all the tools to be able to set our offense up, to be able to get things done, be able to throw a few, alleys to Zion. He has a really nice floater game. You know what he does defensively. And he's an intelligent basketball player. Dice don't make a lot of mistakes. His biggest knock you have on him is just, his shot look trash at times and it don't go in. He's out there very unconfident, not really assertive or sure of himself. But outside of that, you look at him and you're like, well, he has the tools to get it done. He's obviously not stupid, but it's as a basketball player, but it's more of his heart his desire to be great. You really don't see those things. You just see an awesome point of attack defender. Like I told you, Dyson Q, you was like, oh, come on, DC, you tripping. Dyson is a better point of attack defender than Herb. And when I say that, I mean when somebody got the ball and he's on them one-on-one off the dribble, Dyson's better at that than Herb. But I mean, you can find some guys, like that. But as far as what Herb does as a defender, let me just break that all down. Herb is special as a defender. You can't find just another Herb like that. His off ball stuff, him kind of roaming, playing free safety, that's what makes him special. But Dyson clamp people up that Herb couldn't just off the dribble. So I think there's some potential there, but depending on what we do with this trade, I don't foresee it because I think the Pels are going to go out and I think they're going to get a point. They always lack vision, but I think they're intelligent enough to know, which ain't saying a lot because it's real obvious to see, to know that they have to go and get a scoring point guard, a guy who can actually play make and is a threat. You can't just be okay or good, but an actual threat from beyond the arc. The only way Dice works, Q, and hear me good, because I don't see how the hell it would happen, is if we started Jordan Hawkins. Whoever's at the 2 spot has to scare the hell out of people from the 3-point line. And that's what Trey Murphy also did. So where does that leave her? He gonna play center? Because that's the only way I can see it working, honestly.
Well, we know Trey's going to start for the Pels next year. We don't know exactly how the trade situation.
Do we know that really?
Yeah, Trey Murphy. Yes.
How do we know he's gonna start for sure, BQ?
Because he better start for sure. We coming down after them. I'm coming out.
What if CJ McCollum say he should start?
CJ McCollum is just a player. He don't have a damn thing to do with this. We need we need.
Are you saying we're only going to get a center after getting rid of Brandon Ingram and CJ's going to play the point?
Well, let me just say this. Trey Murphy will start because the Pels are going to trade BI, right? And depending on what they get for him, because they have a lot of options right now. They have some options that they can go over with different teams because there's a lot of interest in Brandon Ingram. And like I've been saying, a lot of insiders are saying the Pelicans are trying to get as much as they can for BI, maybe 2 starters if possible. So they might have a particular trade team that really favor him and are willing to give them what they need. So like I said, I don't know if Dyson, because I like Dyson Daniels. I think that Coach Fred working with Dyson Daniels gets him consistently hitting that shot. Then you have something special because Dyson's defense is already there. He sees the floor well. He assists. He just needs more minutes. And how do you give him the minutes when you got all this other stuff going on? You need a discipline. You have to have a coach that understands his team and what they can give and what they can do. But I think Dyson Daniels, working with Coach Fred, because Coach Fred, remember what he did for Lonzo Ball, how he got his shot together. Not only restructured his shot, but had him shooting the ball really good. He worked with Herb Jones, had Herb Jones doing his thing as well. So I mean, it's a lot of plus for Dyson. But then again, you don't know exactly where Dyson is going to end up in terms of will he get traded or not, in this particular trade. So I don't know how it's all going to turn in the end, man. But we'll see, bro. We'll see, because a lot of these guys we drafting, not all these first round draft pick guys we picking up, they're developing to be starters in like full contributors for the team. Like when you bring Dyson is a good young player insofar as he has the size to guard multiple positions. He's a good defender right now. His defense is really solid. He's working on his 3-point game, and just like you seen Najee Marshall, who wasn't shooting that three like that, how he got his percentages up to almost 40%. How Herb turned into a 3-and-D working with Coach Fred and others. I can expect Dyson, who didn't have a palm tree Jackson Hayes type work mentality. This guy actually goes in there. He wants to work to get better. With those big guards like that and him shooting the 3-point, seeing the floor, playing defense, there should be a role for him. But then again, I don't know, because he might be included in a trade when BI goes out. I don't know how they're going to play this thing, but go ahead. I know you wanted to say something, DC. I know Lexxah.
I had a question. I had a question for you.
Yeah.
You talk about Fred Vinson, shooting coach, which I think is awesome. And Bryson Graham actually talked about that in the interview. He said we have the ability, and he kind of tipped his hand. That's why a lot of guys I was talking about.
Did you watch
that? It wasn't that long. I don't think. I think I may have watched the whole interview. It's probably like a week ago. I watched it. Oh, when it first came out.
Old video or new video?
Huh?
New video from Bryson Graham?
It's the video since he's been in the gym. Since he actually moved up and got promoted. But you talked about Dice working out with Fred Vinson, and Brian Graham talked about us having the ability to be able to go out and get guys that not necessarily have the best shot, because we have Fred Vinson in the building and we can fix that shot. We have an advantage that other teams don't have. And to Dyson Daniels, I would say you can put him in the gym with Fred Vinson all you want, because actually I think this year his shot didn't look that bad. The little hit she had in it, and a lot of that was cleared up. The shot kind of looked fluid. But what Fred Vinson is going to do for confidence? And I think confidence for him comes because he don't get on the court. The man will play good, then he have an off game, and then you might not see him for mop-up duty. I mean, we was getting waxed. We was getting waxed in the playoffs. I don't think Dice played 1 minute, Q. I didn't understand that. Like, we would get tore up in the playoffs. Why not just throw the young guys out there to give them some experience? We clearly not gonna win this, bro.
But the thing is that's what I was saying. I said I laid out the stats. I mean the facts and the stats. Like he played 61 games. Dyson played 61 games this past season and 59 the one before. So you're absolutely right, and that's the point about this. These guys.
How many games you played? 4 minutes.
All right, I'm gonna have to do some extensive research on that one, but like I'm saying, man, is that's why I mentioned Willie Green. Like when we talk, it's all predicated on Willie Green. When we talked about Edie, with them looking at Edie and these other centers and these other players, you can't.
Some people on that list can't shoot. Q. Let me tell you.
Well, I mean, the whole thing is, you would think that how the process works out is that Willie Green is. Who do you like, Coach Willie? Well, we're gonna take a look at these guys, this guy, and what kind, because that's what it comes.
Give me all your best defenders, and I'm gonna pick my guy.
We're gonna give him all Fred and let him work on the tree. Coach Darnell, and let him work when. But this is the thing, man. What I'm saying about Willie Green, that's what it comes down to. Willie Green has to do a better job of understanding this team. He has to be able to play these guys and not just sit them there and let them watch. They have to get out on the court and be able to contribute. Like what we seen with Jordan Hawkins last year, he was well on his way to being one of these young players that were, that really was going to do something special with his 3-point shooting.
Our rookie team.
Willie killed all of that. He didn't play him. He said, "I'm gonna do this, that, and third." And we often talk about having shooters on the
No,
team.
no, hold up, Q. You can't speedball past that.
I
Willie
did.
called him Baby Ray Allen. I will never forget it.
He
And
did.
he actually made comparisons to him and Steph Curry.
He
And then
mentioned
said,
Steph and Clay too.
They continue to not play him for the rest of the year.
It's hard
You
not to
can't make
play.
this shit up. You can't make.
"It's hard not to play him." I remember that, Lex. Yeah, it's hard not to play him, but I'm gonna do it anyway. It's just that's what I'm saying. When you have these assets, you have these players. Well, listen, these are not undrafted guys. These are, no disrespect, my undrafted guys, but these are first round draft picks. You taking these guys, and obviously you see potential future starter in these guys. Well, Jordan Hawkins is shooting the lights out. You got to get him out there and you got to play him. Willie is not very organized in these rotations, man. Willie Green does this stuff and he kind of gets stuck. We seen it last year with Coach Borrego stepped in there and did his thing, helped him out. You'll see some success, and then you'll see Willie go away from it blindly and going to do something that it's an adjustment for whatever reason that he is in his head. I don't get what he's doing, and sometimes it's like we talked about, everything is delayed, and you get what you pay for. No disrespect, Coach Willie, but you get what you pay for, man. If we have a guy that got some sense, and there's a bunch of these guys out here that are really good coaches that know what they're doing, but the Pelicans just seem to we want good human beings, and dumb David Griffin, the octopus, running around here talking all this stuff like I call the Pelicans a basketball cult. Who gets up there and talk about good human beings all the time and uses human beings a dozen times, or good human beings a dozen times in these rancid, putrid filled speeches about team stability, like we building a team full of droids or drones or whatever, or cyber, or robots. Nah, man, we need people who want to win. That's number one, that are consummate professionals, and we need the right player, and the right coach who understands the team that he has, how to adjust on the fly when he sees things going badly, how to adjust fast. And we need him to not be afraid to play these young players, because they're not going to get it any other way. You've got to play them. We don't want Dyson. We don't want Jordan Hawkins. We don't want any of our young players to get the Kyra Lewis Jr. treatment, the KLJ treatment. Remember that? And then, of course, you got other guys that go somewhere and develop and they help their team out, like NAW and others. So we've seen this happen with the Pelicans, and I'm tired of it. I'm sick of it. If we taking these players, and of course we talk about small market teams and all this type of stuff and financial viability, you can't compete with the biggest. Well, if that's the case, look what San Antonio's doing, OKC doing. They do make mistakes, but it's not nearly the same amount of mistakes that the Pelicans make, because the philosophy is weird. It's very weird with David Griffin. It's weird. I don't know if I've heard him say, listen, we want a chip. We want a national champ. We want a NBA championship here. We want a trophy. We want a trophy. That's what kind of talk. Because the Pelicans, look what the Mavericks done. The Mavericks just shot past everybody, and they sitting their asses up there in the NBA Finals, family. And we've surrendered first round, like the family member, like Lexxah saying, DC saying about how the Pelicans would surrender draft picks to move bad players, but we can't surrender draft picks to get good ones. We gave up 2 picks to move Amir Asik off the team. We gave up 2 first rounders to get him out of here, to trade him up out of here, that bad contract. We can send out draft capital with garbage players, but we can't bring good ones in. And that's what I was saying about the Pelicans' leadership for years. Just not smart leadership. No disrespect. I think they got the right people in there. I think David Griffin is a snake oil salesman. I've been saying that. The guy is a snake oil salesman. I'm rebranding him as not David Griffin anymore. It's David Grifter. That's his name. That's his goddamn name. His name is David Grifter. And he grifting the hell out of Gail Benson. We won 49 games. Q, what you talking about? But that's not the fam. We about winning championships. You got to understand. You got a timeline that you're on now with Zion Williamson. We have a real. It's not a coincidence anymore when you have a history of stars that you've brought in, and these guys are going to go down as some of the best players that ever put on a uniform in NBA history. We talking about people like CP3. We talking about Antonio Davis. Each were draft picks of the New Orleans organization that ended up leaving here to go somewhere else to try to capture a crown. Now AD got one. CP3, I don't think he got. I know he didn't get one.
Drew Holiday got one.
Drew Holiday is another dude. So
he's back at it, possibly getting another.
Got to get another one. So that's what I'm saying here. It's a top-down effect, man. It's like, if you're going to draft these players, man, make sure you get with the goddamn coach and figure out what kind of center this dude wants. Because you're not going to take Zach Edey, who's 7'4", a massive player like DC talked about. The guy averages 20 points a game, does a lot of fantastic stuff, and then sit him on the bench. And then when we're going to second half of the game comes out, we got Larry Nance out there running around. Listen, bro.
And he'll straight up do that too.
He'll do that. He don't care about bench. He benched Jordan Hawkins, and the Pelicans need a shoot.
I mean, Jordan Hawkins was up for he could have been on the all rookie team because he was third behind either Chet or Wemby. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
yeah, he was.
I mean, I man, that's horrible that opportunity was taken away from him. Like, he really could have really could have boosted his confidence because he was playing well every time he went out there. But when there's too much hiatus in your playing time, it's almost like that's almost a shot every single time at your confidence. And then, once he started getting in there, it's like, 4-minute stretches, 2-minute stretches. It's like, first of all, he can't do anything in that time. And then second of all, it's like, dog, he's had such a break of not playing. It's like you just have him on the bench and then you throw him in there. All right, give me something. That's hard to do. That's just like when KLJ was here. You know what I'm saying? He hadn't been playing for months. And in the playing game, he brought him. He brought him.
I believe in you.
Play in the most important game. Like, dog, this now ain't the time for that. Dude ain't in no type of rhythm. That's crazy.
Nah,
you don't need rhythm to play defense, right?
That's what his philosophy. That's what it is. It's easy. I mean, he's very easy. That's how you get on the court. You got to play defense.
Check this out with Jordan, though. Like, you made an interesting point with not being tough.
With the exceptions of CJ.
That 3-pointer. Well, he got the money. You know, he getting 33 million.
Hey, you know what? Hey, I do want to say, whoever we go and get, because if the Pelicans get Trey Young, hey man, definitely CJ cannot be in the back. Can't be in the backcourt with him.
Absolutely not.
Why not? But wait, let me. I wanted to make a point about Hawk, right? Because we keep moving, man. We got to move in the groove. But you made an excellent point about Hawk, because imagine this: just put yourself in his shoes. You're a rookie, right? Guys get injured. You come in, and when you come in and you play your minutes, right? You're being compared, and you got Wembanyama and Chet Holmgren. It's the only two rookies that are in front of you. You know how good those guys are, right?
Yep.
These are the only two people being talked about ahead of you, right? You came in, you had 30-point games, consistently put up 20-something point games, 18-something point games, right? You go on the stretch. You had a few little bad games. You're a damn rookie. You're going to have some bad games, right?
He's a rookie. Right.
You do that. Your coach compares you to Ray Allen, talks about some of your ability of being like a Steph Curry, right? And then you don't play no more. What does that do to your confidence? I mean, what you said, Lex, is true, but it's almost understated. I would feel like I've done everything right to be able to get playing time after doing that. And then when my coach sits me and doesn't play me at all, I'm like, well, what the hell? What did I do? Like your confidence is completely shot because you're like, what did I do wrong? I don't understand.
DC, hold on, DC, you wrong. You are wrong. You wrong, sir. He did play him. He did play him.
On his birthday for 4 minutes?
4 minutes.
That man, you know what? That was like some kiddie stuff, man. That was like.
Hey, I seen you been working good, fella. Let me give you some minutes, young fella. You've been really out there working.
I was like he that was a kid move. You do that to kids. You don't do that to no grown man, man. That's all.
Man.
He might as well not have played him.
Check this out though. David Griffin came out at the end of the year. And what did he say? Which, I mean, you can't put a lot of stock in anything he said. But he did say, we value Jordan Hawkins and what he can be.
Okay, who's we? Who's the we, though?
The sustainable organization that was built organically.
Is Willie Green incorporated in that we?
I think by him saying that, he is almost like, okay, he's forcing Willie's hand to play him more next year. Obviously, I don't think they're going to promote him as a starter.
He should have made it easy for himself and just got rid of Willie and got a better coach.
But David Griffin talked about potential moves making during the offseason, and he held Jordan Hawkins in high esteem. You know who he didn't say anything about? He didn't say shit about Dyson Daniels. You know what I'm saying? So, could Dyson also be leaving with the Brandon Ingram trade, and it maybe opens up a ton of minutes for Hawk off the bench? As well as the thing y'all was saying about CJ, we can get to that too. Why wouldn't he work at all with Trey Young? Because we've seen CJ play at the 2, in my opinion. I think a lot of the stuff we hate about CJ, when he goes to the 2 guard, goes away. Because he doesn't have the ball as much. When he gets the ball, it's kind of when you want him to be able to score. And it looks different.
Yeah, but DC.
But it's not that, DC. It's not that. He's a defensive liability. If you remember in the Thunder series, they were hunting him.
I remember. I get all that.
I mean, and obviously, if Trey is starting, depending on who's coming here, because obviously, you know, the goal is to get a ball handler. I'm not trying to have 33 mil coming off the bench. No, you need to move the 33 mil.
Chris Paul made 38 and came off the bench.
Okay, what team was he playing for?
The Golden State Warriors, baby.
Okay, and how long was he doing that? Like a few games?
No, he did that pretty much the whole season almost.
No, he didn't.
Chris Paul was never really starting.
No, because they benched Klay Thompson.
They did.
Yeah, I mean,
but before they benched Klay,
it wasn't for the whole season though. It wasn't for the whole season. It was for a small stint, but it wasn't for the whole season.
I don't know. They look like they kind of went back and forth with that.
DC,
it was pretty long.
We talked about off-ball CJ. Off-ball CJ is
amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Element, but
and we don't run plays for him. Think if they only started running more plays for him and everything.
See, but you saying that if Trey Young is the guy, there was no way. I mean, you can have those 2 guys playing in the backcourt. You're gonna have that.
I think you could, but it would be more of a. You can't do that all game, obviously.
Unless somebody.
I think you can.
I mean, no. Trey, and if Trey's the guy for BI, obviously, let's say it's Trey.
Have you seen how hot CJ could get, especially when he gets open looks? Can you imagine how wide open some of these 3-pointers would be for him with Trey Young and Zion on the court? The offense will be so powerful, man. I think it's almost to a point where you definitely would have to do that in spurts or stretches or something. Like, you can't not do that. Imagine a lineup of Trey, CJ, and Trey. with Zion and whoever the hell else. I don't even care who else.
No. Because it's the thing.
I'm not saying all year for to be starters, but I'm just saying that as a lineup.
Yeah, in spots. I mean, if CJ McCollum comes off the bench, a lot of people, even though CJ McCollum,
I treat CJ how what was that? Remember you had Oklahoma Thunder and they had Salafish or what was it? Salafish or whatever his name was. James Harden was coming off the bench. You had Russ. You had this little defensive dude. You put him out there for 5 minutes. If he wasn't getting you nothing, all right, James Harden get the game.
I'm saying don't get caught up on that because CJ McCollum, even though you're saying CJ got to come off the bench, he's still going to be playing starter minutes. I mean, coming up off the bench, he's still playing heavy minutes. So whether or not, starting or not, but really, if it's Trey, and this is a scenario that if it's Trey Young, then to me, you already got Herb there. So to be Trey and Herb back there, then you have Trey Murphy, who's at 3, with Zion at 4. Whoever the center is going to be, it's a draft pick guy, or it could be possibly a player that the Pelicans catch and trade, because we know there was a situation where they wanted what's the guy named Oyekwa? I forgot the man. Okongwu. They wanted him to be the guy that they go after, but perhaps they don't relinquish him. Perhaps they say we'll give you Trey and Clint Capella, and I know y'all not excited about that.
My thing is this, man. With that, I want Trey, right?
Let me finish my thought, because I think in a Trey Young scenario, that's what the backcourt would look like. What it should look like would it be Trey and Herb, and then you go the rest of the way. But CJ, to me, would be a guy that comes off the bench, but still plays starter minutes. He still will be averaging heavy-handed minutes, and that will be a temporary fix until the Pelicans get further enough into the season, because they're going to want to play him to keep his stats cooking, so he can be a tradable asset. You'll have an expiring contract coming up, so he'll be more attractive in terms of the money of moving him, because that's a lot of bread, 33 and a third. So in the interim, DC, that would make a lot of sense, and then ultimately you end up trading them anyway to see if you can acquire another player to add to that core that you have with Trey Young and Zion, and then the third piece comes later. I'm sorry.
Now this is my problem with the whole thing. I've never been. I give y'all a lot of flack about the Trey Young thing on other shows. I'm pro Trey Young. I would love it. But I just don't see them giving up Trey Young just to take back CJ. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Let me tell you why. If you're Atlanta, Trey Young is if you're Atlanta, listen, huh?
You said you said CJ McCollum? Ingram. You mean Ingram? Okay. I thought you said.
I can make more sense out of it with CJ than Ingram.
They're not going to take
Let me explain why. If you're Atlanta, right? Trey Young is a superstar, man. Trey Young gives you 25 and 10, right? Why would I move up for Trey Young? I'm already paying $50 million a year to take on Brandon Ingram, who I'm going to pay $50 million a year, who are not the same players. Trey Young is obviously the better player, right? More, I guess, defensive liabilities than Ingram. If they're getting rid of Trey Young, man, then people want to do a rebuild. Like, nah. So why would they want to get a guy that they got to pay $50 million a year? And then on top of that, we could get Clint Capella, I guess, if we can figure out a way to make the numbers work. But why would they give Conway away, who's their young big man? And well, if they get Alex Sarr, then I guess maybe you keep Capella to do that, and then you're giving away a Conway, right? Okay, so I can meet all that because Capella is expiring. Well, I'm not finished though. Right? So Capella is an expiring. But why would they take back BI for $50 million if they're trying to rebuild? They're going to want one of our younger guys to kickstart the rebuild that they have potential. Whether that's Jordan Hawkins, whether that's Trey Murphy, or whether that's Herb Jones. I don't see a deal for Trey getting done without one of them, unless for some reason they're just extremely high on Dyson Daniels, which I don't know if I see that. The deal for them for getting Trey Young would be to free up all that cap space that he got for them to kickstart a rebuild and for us to give him some picks. They don't want a guy back that may play some meaningful minutes and actually win some games for him. I don't see them, if they're getting rid of Trey Young, is trying to do that. They're probably trying to rebuild. And I think if they got rid of Trey Young, they're actually probably going to get rid of DeJounte Murray too. And then you look at that aspect of it. Do they see DeJounte Murray and Ingram's games playing together? I'm just not sure that's what Atlanta wants to do. I think if they could, they would definitely want to do the DeJounte Murray trade with us and try to keep the trade thing going and pair him with Brandon Ingram. I think they would be more inclined to do that than to do the opposite without getting a really good young guy that could potentially turn into something and kickstart their rebuild. Now, if we can go and get it like that, man, that'd be amazing, Q. But to me, it's like, what are they getting out of the deal? If they're taking a hit talent-wise, then they would definitely want to recoup all of their money to start their rebuild, to build up their team, probably have another bad year so they can get an excellent draft pick next year in a much better draft to kickstart their actual rebuild. And everybody's talking about sending Trey Young to the Spurs or sending DeJounte Murray back. Only one problem with that. If the GM does that, he's going to get fired. Because the trade they made to get DeJounte Murray, all of that is an epic failure. And that GM gets fired if he makes those moves. So I don't see him doing that either.
Well, let me add this to it, DC, because I've been looking into the Atlanta thing because I want to know what's going on with these organizations and what's the mind frame, the master plan, as much as we can find out of what they're trying to accomplish. Now, in terms of what I discovered about Atlanta, is that Atlanta's not looking to trade both. They're trying to trade one or the other. Now, they're both on the trade block, but they're trying to use whoever they get the better chip for, the other guy stays, is what I'm getting. So if they trade Trey for an asset like Brandon Ingram, who would fit well next to DeJounte Murray, or vice versa, depending on what they're doing, because the Pels are not the only team in there, even though they covet BI, they want Brandon Ingram. But it depends on what package interest.
What did you hear that you heard Atlanta covets BI with DeJounte Murray? Because I heard with Trey Young.
No, not with DeJounte. What I'm saying is there's a high interest from Atlanta in BI is what I'm saying. There's a very high interest from what Atlanta looking at. And listen,
I believe that, but to keep him with Trey Young, I don't see them wanting to swap him too.
Hold on. What I'm saying is that it's either one of those players they're going to trade. Now, if they trade Trey, they keep Murray. If they trade Murray, the thought process is they're going to keep. You see what I'm saying? They're going to try to use one of those players to get an asset, a major asset to help with the team. And then they'll take the first round draft pick and put that together. Remember, they got a really good head coach out there. So, I mean, they're trying to just kind of, I don't know if you called it it's not a rebuild as a term, as opposed to like, it's a reset. They're not trying.
How do you lose the superstar Q and not rebuild?
Well, I'm saying
I've never seen that.
Well, I mean, Trey Young, and see, they screwed up because remember they had Luka.
If you lose a superstar, it's a rebuild, man. Like you can't go a tier down in player talent and think that
I hear
you're gonna go further.
I hear you, but their mentality is for what I'm getting, and this is what I'm.
I hope y'all right.
That is, see, they're not trading both, even though both are on the block. It's either if whoever they gets the best deal for, if they trade Trey, because it looks like Trey's out there, if they can move Trey and get a really good asset to him, they can kind of reset the team with the, and they really like BI. What's up, fam? This is Big Q from PPR. Thank y'all for watching. Please feel free to hit the subscribe button, the like button, and the share button. Hit all the notification buttons. And make sure you follow us here every week as we talk about all things Pelicans. Much love. Go Pels.